Hey guys, so when solving consecutive integer equations, the first thing we need to do is define our variables and set them up. So this question says to find two consecutive integers whose sum is 75. So I'm going to do some highlighting. So I want two consecutive integers whose sum is 75. So the first thing I'm going to do is define my variable. So I am going to call my first number, or first integer, x, and my second number, x plus 1. Because they are consecutive, that means it's one more than that on the number line. You could also say your smaller number or your larger number. Okay, so now I need to set up an equation. So the two consecutive integers, x and x plus 1, whose sum is 75. So that means that if I add together x plus 1, I should have a sum of 75. So now, just like any other equation, I'm going to go ahead and solve for x, which means I'm going to combine my like terms. X plus x is 2x. Okay, and when solving for my variable, okay, before I can get rid of this 2, I need to get rid of the 1 by using my inverse operations. So the opposite of addition is subtraction. So I'm going to subtract 1 from both sides. And then for my last step, I would divide by 2. Okay, so that means that one of my integers is 37. That's what x is. So to find my second number, I have to add 1. So 37 plus 1 is 38. And I would always go back and double check my work. Their sum should be 75. If I add together 37 and 38, I do indeed get 75. Let's do one more example together. So here we have to find two consecutive even integers that the sum of the smaller number and 3 times the larger number is 234. So this one has a little extra information that we need to kind of highlight. So two consecutive even integers, and that their sum of the smaller number and 3 times the larger number is 234. Okay, so the first thing I need to do, again, is to define my variables. So my first number, or my even integer, or my first even integer, I'm going to call x. And because this is even integers, okay, my second number is going to be x plus 2. Okay, so anytime I have even or odd integers, instead of adding 1, they are 2 away from each other on the number line, so I need to add 2. Okay, now let's come up with an equation. The sum of the smaller number, okay, and 3 times the larger number is 234. So my smaller number is x. So the sum of the smaller number and 3 times the larger number. Now my larger number is going to be x plus 2. So I can show this using the quantity 3 times x plus 2. Now it's very important that you use parentheses here. Okay, now the sum should be equal to 234. Okay. Now that we have an equation, we would solve this like we would any other equation, which means I need to distribute. 3 times x is 3x. 3 times 2 is 6. On the left-hand side, I notice I have like terms over here. I can combine x and 3x, and that will give me 4x. And then I'm now down to a nice two-step equation. Okay, so the next thing I need to do is subtract 6 from both sides. To 28 and divide by 4, which would give me 57. Okay, so again, 57 is going to be my first number. And in order to find the second number, I would substitute 57 plus 2 is 59. So again, I'm going to go back and double check this work. Okay, so the sum of the first number and 3 times the larger number should be equal to 234. So what I'm checking is 57 plus 3 times 59, and that is indeed 234. Now, one thing I would really pay attention to here when you are setting up this equation is to make sure that you have parentheses around the x plus 2. If you don't, you're going to get a different answer.